Before we begin today's episode, please note this episode includes discussions of alcohol abuse, self-harm and suicide. If these topics are distressing for you, please take care whilst listening or feel free to skip this episode if needed. We've included some support resources in the show notes. Today's episode on A Really Good Sex Chat is with Luke, who has been living with his traumatic brain injury and spinal cord injury since 2013. Today's episode explores his experience with sex and dating since his injury. Let's get straight into it. Welcome to A Really Good Sex Chat, a podcast aiming to open up conversations about disability and sexuality. I'm your host, Candice Care-Unger, psychosexual therapist and specialist social worker at Rehab. Join us as we have frank conversations about sexuality, disability, fertility, pleasure, dating, and everything in between. This podcast is brought to you by Rehab and recorded on Warramai Country. Today on A Really Good Sex Chat, we have Luke joining us. We also have Luke's birds in the background in case you hear the occasional tweet. Luke comes to us from the northern New South Wales area up near Lismore and has, what have you got in the background? What did you say you had?
The one you can hear is my Alexandrian.
Yeah, and you got a big macaw as well.
Yes, over my shoulders.
Yeah, nice. So we've got some additional friends with us, which is cool. I've got my dog with us today as well, so she might make an appearance later. Luke, thanks so much for joining us. For those listening at home that don't really know you yet, could you introduce yourself for us?
I'm Luke, 30. When I was 18, I was in the army down in Albury-Wodonga. We went to a pub for a mate's birthday and middle state erosion, and we didn't get home.
Okay.
I don't remember 2 weeks before, 5 after, so the details I don't really know. But yeah, I just know we didn't get home.
Yeah, okay. And so your diagnosis after that accident was traumatic brain injury and spinal cord injury, hey?
Yes.
Yeah. And your spinal cord injury, how does that impact on you?
Well, I'm wheelchair bound and everything that comes along with being in a wheelchair. Other than that, it doesn't.
Okay, all right. And in what ways do you think your brain injury impacts on you?
My brain injury is, a lot of it is stuff that I noticed that to a stranger they're not going to notice. My emotional range is very limited. I really have happiness and anger that work 100% of the time. For example, I can't get sad enough to cry. So it seems my brain has replaced sadness with confusion.
Okay.
So, for example, at my grandfather's funeral, everyone was obviously crying, as you do. I was more, I wonder how they got that up there. That's nice. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on.
So tell me, like, we're talking today about sexuality and spinal cord injury and brain injury, and particularly, I guess, your experience with, sex and relationships after your injury. Thank you for agreeing to have this chat, because I know it's not always the type of thing we talk about with other people.
Yeah.
How did you get so comfortable talking about sex?
Talking about sex, like specifically sex, is very new.
Okay.
I did for years the party program, which is teaching children about safe driving.
Yeah.
And school kids. I think they were from their L's to their P's, so it's at 16 to 17.
Yep.
They ask really not so much worse questions, but it's very harsh the way that it's sort of asked. So when I first faced those sort of questions is when I noticed that embarrassment isn't something that my brain lets me have.
Okay, that's kind of handy.
Yeah, so I lean into that, And if I'm given the opportunity to talk, to educate about spinal injury or brain injury or mental health or whatever, I'm more than happy to go right into detail.
I'm happy to share your story for other people's learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good on you. Very generous. All right, well then, in that case, if you're happy to chat all about it, let's talk about how things are different since your injury. What have you noticed compared to pre-injury?
My dick doesn't work.
Okay.
There's that. But I can still get really turned on.
Because the brain's the major sexual organ, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the big difference. That normally wouldn't really matter, I guess, but that just makes me really sexually frustrated.
Okay.
So yeah, I've had to learn to not let people see that that's getting me really angry because of the sexual part of it.
Yeah, okay. So, initially after your injury, did you notice that your interest in sex was the same, different, worse, less, more?
When I woke up from the coma, because it was a natural coma, I obviously had a very, very, very wrecked body. So I was really drugged out. And those drugs took months and months and months to be weaned off.
Sure.
So immediately after, I didn't really even know that my legs didn't work.
Yeah.
But then once I was in rehab and starting to move around a bit and understand what was going on with my body, for the first 2 years, I was I'm going to walk again.
Yeah.
So there wasn't room in my brain to have anything other than physio, walk.
Yeah.
And at 2 years, I was self-medicating with alcohol, and I became very, very alcohol dependent.
Yeah.
So that's taken out more years where I wasn't with it enough.
Yeah.
To care about sex. And it was 2017, the alcohol stopped.
Okay. Congratulations. That's
Thank
8
you.
years, eh? Yeah, well done. Well done.
It was 8 years, not that long ago.
Yeah.
But the way the alcoholism ended was a suicide attempt. So then there was all of that I had to deal with. So even more years. And it wasn't until I was probably 27 or 28 that I actually stopped and went, well, hang on, sure, there's the sex, but I kind of want a relationship.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then I was 30 when I decided I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and start approaching relationships as an important part of your life, quality of life.
Yeah. So in turn, got put in contact with Haley and you now, and yeah, here I am.
Yeah, okay. So that was quite a long journey, really. Like, how old were you when you were injured?
I was 18.
18. Okay, it's a 12-year story there. Yeah, wow. Okay, and so the first few years, drug-induced, kind of so many things going on in terms of grief and adjustment, and then the brain injury itself. So that explains why there was a bit of a loss of interest in sex. It's just not a priority. Then we talk about these years of alcohol use. Did you think that your interest in sex was the same, increased or decreased with all the alcohol use?
I become very different when I drink, in the way that it's all 100 mile an hour, fun, go get it, that kind of.
Okay, sure.
So for me to be able to use working girls
Yeah.
was enough. So those years, yes, there was sex involved, but I don't think it really was more or less than an average drunk person.
Okay. And so when you talk about this sort of 30-year birthday coming along, the big
Yeah.
O birthday, yeah, you were saying that before we started recording that was like your awakening or your self-promise
Yep.
that things are going to be different from 30 on. So when you say that you're looking for something new, what do you mean by that?
Like, I have been throughout my 20s sort of dabbling in online dating, but I think the maturity at early 20s really, women weren't ready to date someone who was in a wheelchair, who was so different, I should say, and I wasn't mature enough to sort of ease them into it. And at 30, on my 30th birthday, I was thinking about it, and by the time a woman is 30, all of that party, the immediate stage is out, and they're starting to become more career focused, family focused, and I believe, I hope that that will make it easier for me to not be a disability first, be a person first.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think it's maturity, and I'm hoping that the maturity in the 30s is going to accommodate for the disability.
Yeah, okay. Do you think your relationship with yourself changed at 30 too?
Massively. Since really the start, I guess. So I'll just say 20s.
Yep.
If something went wrong and I got angry at it, I very rarely got outwardly angry. I would always be fuming with myself. That has been a very prominent part of my life through my 20s. And at 30, I sort of went, go a bit easier on yourself,
A bit more
Things are allowed to go wrong, and you don't need to do whatever. My way of getting out of the wanting to cut myself is I pull fingernails off. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's become a bad habit.
Yeah.
But through my 30s, I'd like to, stop having that happen.
So you're looking after your body a bit gentler by the sounds of it, a bit kinder.
I've got to go easier on myself. Otherwise, I'm going to age very quickly.
Yeah, and you've only got this one body, hey?
Yeah, exactly. And I've already broken it enough.
So you may as well treat it special for the next 30.
Yeah, what's left of it all.
Yeah, fair enough. You gave it a hard time for the first 30, and now you're going to treat it good for the next 30.
Yes.
So tell me, what lessons do you wish you'd known earlier?
To be easier on myself. Alcohol's the biggest one, because I found comfort in the bottom of a bottle, which meant I burnt all of my bridges with everyone. Yeah, so not doing that I would live a very different life if I didn't drink for so many years.
Okay. But at the same time now you're sober, so you got to give yourself a huge pat on the back that you have made a massive lifestyle change.
Yeah.
So you'd go back to your younger self and say, oi, treat yourself nicer.
Yes.
Yeah. And now that you're coming into your dating era and you're evolving into your readiness, we talk a lot about readiness on the podcast, and readiness for everyone is different. And what I hear you talking about is 12 years post-injury, there's a readiness. You're ready to change life, change lifestyle, and open yourself up to something new.
Yeah.
What's kind of driven that?
to look at my 20s not as my 20s, to look at it as a decade of life, that's a long time.
Yeah.
I don't really know. It's just I need to start looking if I'm to not, get ready for pasture and be single.
Get ready for pasture. That's such a great analogy.
Yeah.
Tell me what it is that you're looking for, and when you're thinking about dating and dating after your injury, what makes an ideal partner for you? Have you got an idea about that?
Sort of. I plan to go to one of the East Asian countries as the women culture or the women in the dating culture seem to be far more caring, understanding. They don't seem to care as much about what you look, how much money you make every year, your disability or ability. So I want someone that sees Luke, not someone that sees Luke in a wheelchair.
Yeah, okay.
And definitely not someone who sees a wheelchair with Luke in it.
Yeah, okay. So you mean culturally?
Yeah.
Women from those cultures are more open-minded.
It seems. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you think you've kind of picked that up from? When you say it seems like that?
People have met through mainly the prostitution world.
Ah, okay. So sex workers you've met that have come from these cultures have been incredibly attentive or caring, and that's been attractive.
It's more been because I can't have sex, or I can't really have sex. A lot of it has been just having a woman there to, talk to, the touch, smell, things that a guy can't give you if you're a straight male.
It's more sensual connections than that penetration that you're kind of talking about. Yeah, okay.
So that means that 1 hour normally isn't enough. I'd normally be happy with 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
So in that 3-4 hours, you always end up talking about where you've come from, family stuff. I know that sounds weird, but I've always had an attraction to Asian men. So that sort of drove the going with Asian women, and then just talking to them, I've found out these things that apparently are the way that it goes. So I'll give it a go.
And did you find some of the workers that you engaged with sort of encouraged you to travel or to...
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes. There definitely is the more stereotypical drug addict working girl, and I've come across a million of those. But I do every now and then find one that I go, hang on, you're actually a really good person. Sure, you're doing a job that others may consider lower class, but they're offering a service and they've been nice people.
Tell me, what are some of the benefits to you, having worked with sex workers the last, 10 years on and off?
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the benefits of being able to engage in sex work?
Well, when you look at the sex side of it, my early 20s, just root and scoot kind of thing. The ability to go, well, I want it now, all right, I'll go down and have sex now.
So it's accessible.
Yeah, there's always that.
The reason I asked what the benefits to you had been is because you're talking about these 3 to 4 hour bookings, which sound much more emotionally intimate than just a root and scoot, to use your terminology there. So I'm just curious what you've found to be the benefits of seeing sex work have been for you.
These people are people. They're just women.
Yep.
But they know you're either going for just sex, or they know you're there for a bit more, like, of a chat.
Yeah, like a mean and loneliness need and
Loneliness is, but yeah, definitely. So they're very prepared for that, and because like you can say, oh, I'd like to be with that woman for the next 4 hours, and the women can say no.
Of course they can, yeah.
And you always meet them at first, and they ask you what you want to get out of it. So you can get the women who are, or you end up with women that are prepared to talk about more emotional stuff.
Yeah.
So they know what they're getting when you go in.
Yeah.
They're prepared for it. They're happy to talk about it. So it's sort of, you have the availability of sex, or you can have the availability of the softer side, more sensual side of women, and the fact that they've said yes to you being with them for 4 hours, they're obviously happy to be more sensual for 4 hours.
And by the sounds of it, the real benefit to you there too was also being able to emotionally connect with another person, be vulnerable, have that.
And they're ready for it, and they expect it.
And they're very skilled by the sounds of it in supporting you.
Well, yeah, I guess that's their job.
Yeah.
So it's not just me they do with, so they have an idea of what to do.
Yeah, okay. So sex work's really been an important part for the last decade to meet like an emotional, relational need, as well as, you know, if sex was required, then the more physical side of it. But something's shifted and you're looking for a committed partner or something longer term. What's kind of changing there?
I have a heap of animals.
Okay.
I will book my appointments around certain times that they get fed.
Okay.
Book my appointments around making them food, looking after their specific needs. That they come first in this family, and I want someone that can not only provide the more emotional side of it, but someone that knows me on a deep level. Someone who knows the name of all my dogs.
Yeah.
Someone that my macaw trusts enough for them just to go in there.
Do you think it's been harder to meet people since your injury?
Yeah.
What? How so? Tell us a bit about that.
See, I guess meeting people through drinking at the start didn't really getting more than just meeting them. Sure, it wrecked that. But they were at the clubs drunk as well.
Okay. You were saying it was harder to meet people. Was it, well, initially when you were drinking heaps, you could meet people because they were also drinking, but then that's all that was really in common, just drinking.
Yeah.
You've become sober and you're wanting to meet people. What kinds of ways do you go about meeting new people?
A lot of my story is dominated by mental health.
Sure.
Diagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder, diagnosed major depressive disorder, chronic anxiety. So that adds an extra layer to mine. I'm way too comfortable to be at home on my own.
Okay.
With no one except my animals. So yeah, that throws in an extra little bit. I've now got a support worker who is very aware of some of the finer details of what my brain injury has done.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does he encourage me to get out and come out and have lunch wherever or whatever, but he also stops, I guess, me getting into arguments and fights with everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So having that support person has really helped motivate you to get out of the house, giving you a reason to get out and about, and then also when you're out, feeling like maybe it's a bit more socially acceptable, into like not less agitated, less irritable with people.
I really struggle at times, not all the time. If someone says something to me, I can have an answer in my head that is harmless, but the words that come out of my mouth aren't
Okay.
in a harmless way. So he stops me getting punched in the face.
Okay, he sounds
part
great.
of his job.
Yeah. He sounds awesome. He sounds like he's a good life coach as well as security guard.
Yeah, exactly.
Too funny. I guess what I've taken so far from what you've been talking about here is that in some ways you don't think that your brain injury really impacted your interest in sex. You're still interested. You still wanted to connect with people. The spinal cord injuries probably added some complications with function. But what's sort of come out now, 12 years down the track, is a desire to meet with people, desire to connect and have something longer term. What do you think's been helpful for you in terms of regaining your, your sexual confidence and your sexual well-being over the years? What's been helpful?
I had absolutely zero confidence until I started working with Haley.
Okay. Plug for psychosexual therapy there.
Yeah. And she had suggested, instead of just going for a normal working girl, go for the higher priced escorts in a larger city than Lismore. And I had to take one of my dogs up for major knee surgery to the Gold Coast. And because in my head she needed me close by, I stayed up there while she was having the surgery and thought, well, I'll get, like Haley said, and ended up explaining in depth to her what I was after. But there was zero sex, but a lot of it was just touch.
Okay, so the work with Haley, when she suggested, exploring a different type of sex work, more the escort side, was really around having a bit more of a disability awareness.
Yes.
How it is that you're coming into your body, learning some skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just a root 'em and shoot 'em like you were.
Yeah.
Whatever you said before.
Yeah.
Okay, and was that experience helpful?
After that, my confidence, still not high, but it's higher than it was.
Yeah, through some positive experiences.
Yeah, and it was, I guess, the tipping point for looking in particularly the Philippines was Tom, my support worker.
Okay.
So I had all these good interactions pre even moving out to my farm. Then I learned a lot about myself with this escort when my dog was getting surgery. And then Tom mentioned the Philippines, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to the Philippines.
Have you been?
No, that's... The only person who I trust to look after my animals is my mum.
Okay.
So I've got to work it in with her work.
Okay. Is she supportive of your travel plans?
Yeah, she is. I've spoken to her about it and she's happy with it. But then she's got to move out to my place to look after them. And she won't be free until early next year. So I just have to, as the army say, hurry up and wait.
Okay, hurry up and wait. That's funny. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's really your plan at the moment, is some international travel with the purposes of hoping to meet someone. Is there like an agency or something that you're working with, or are you just... Okay.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Is it like a matchmaking service?
Yeah, I guess it is. And they have people that do the Philippines, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Latina countries, or Latino, whatever it is, countries.
South American, yeah.
Yeah. So I've sort of got in contact with the people that do Philippines, and yeah.
And are you chatting to anyone in particular, or are you just sort of playing the field?
You're not allowed to give out personal details through them, and to make money, they charge American money for every email letter thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you convert it to Australian, it is very, very expensive.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go over there and with them and see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck. It's
Thank
very
you.
brave, really, to jump on a plane and go find love. That's really your plan.
Yeah, I guess it is.
And then all the complexity that happens with international relationships. But
Yeah.
that feels like a problem for later. Find love first.
Definitely. There's definitely people that just scam. Going through an agency means that if something like that happens, I can say, well, a foreign affair did screen them.
Sure.
Why did you guys introduce me to a married woman?
Okay, sure.
Or a scammer or whatever.
Okay, so by having this middle agency, it sort of feels more like it's a safer, less risky way of engaging in international dating and in international matchmaking. This is really interesting because we haven't really explored this issue at all on a podcast around international matchmaking, and of course it's something that many people will look at. This is not a disability specific thing, but when I hear you kind of saying that there's something about the culture of Filipino women that seem more open to everything that your disability may well bring to married life. What are you aware of in terms of your brain injury or spinal injury that impacts on your relationships?
See, I can't really be aware of too much.
Okay.
Because through my 20s, there wasn't a relationship for me to learn from.
Ah, interesting. Okay, sure. Yeah. What about other relationships, like with your friends and family, and even feedback from Tom, your support worker?
People who are happy to accept not only the physical side, but people who are happy to accept and ask questions about the side that you can't see.
Mm-hmm.
They're all like my family, for example. They're fine. Tom, fine. People struggle to, like a lot of my school friends that I met up with once I was back have stopped really interacting with me.
Okay.
And this is on me. Like I said, I burnt lots of bridges with alcohol.
I mean, what you're talking about is very common after brain injury too. People maybe have changed in subtle ways.
Yeah.
And friends aren't really sure how to navigate that. And a lot of people do talk about their social networks becoming much smaller.
I don't like to be critical of anyone talking about this stuff. I don't like to be critical of anyone because I know a lot of the blame is on me.
You're taking responsibility here for why the relationship is hard.
Not all, but a good portion of it is on me.
Mm. Well, I think in terms of coming into your dating life and also just making new friends, you've said it's hard to make new friends after your injury as well. What do you think makes you a good friend?
One thing you can definitely guarantee with me is I'll be on time.
You'll be on time?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
My undamaged part of my brain still thinks it's in the army.
Sure. And
so I go by the if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late.
Okay.
And that plays up with my anxiety. If I'm 4 minutes early, I think they're going to hate me for it.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, you're gonna, and I'm very loyal because I've lost contact with so many people over the years that I have to be loyal to the people that are still talking to me because they've been through it all and still want to interact with me. So I have to be loyal.
Okay, so you're loyal, you're on time.
Yes.
What else? What else makes you a good mate?
If you like animals, I can always be a deso.
A designated driver? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I don't really know. I'm me, and if that's not what you want in a friend, sorry, I'm not changing.
Yeah, okay. So
So,
with that, you kind of have a good sense of self. And so when you think about you going into relationships, what do you think will make you as a good partner?
always on time.
Okay.
Well,
Reliable.
yeah. In a relationship, because I've had over a decade with no significant other, I know for a fact I will look at it in a, if I don't treat you like gold, I'm going to lose you and then have to wait another 12 years, 13 years to get a partner.
Okay.
So, yeah, the lady in my life will be my life.
You would treat her well and respect her, and she will be, like you just said, then like your kind of number one priority, above the pets even.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah. But
Yes.
what kind of do you think makes you a difficult partner?
In bed, not sex wise, but I don't trust myself when I sleep because I still have quite a few nightmares,
Okay.
PTSD related nightmares, and apparently I thrash around so much.
Okay.
So I'd be afraid that when I go to sleep, I'm going to beat the crap out of them.
What interesting.
Essentially, like,
Yeah.
so there's that. And I guess it's all fears about, am I good enough for that person? And that will start with, me being in a wheelchair. Does that make life difficult? The brain injury, does that make life difficult? And that'll get me on a path of picking everything out of my life that will make me difficult and stressing about those things.
Okay.
So a partner will have to be extremely accepting and patient, which, as a single man, I go, well, that's a lot to ask, and they kind of need to know pretty early in the relationship. And for me to say, well, I'm in a wheelchair, I have brain damage, you need to be accepting, you need to be patient.
I mean, the disclosing of all of that is an interesting thing in itself. Like, how do you feel confident in how to disclose all of your injury?
More than confident, I feel I have to.
Okay.
Because let's say an online dating profile. If I don't put even the basis of stuff, not right in depth, but the basis of stuff to at least start the conversation, like I'm in a wheelchair with brain damage, that's not a good way to start a relationship.
Okay,
if I start it omitting very important details, it's bound to not work.
Okay, so like disclosing your injury, talking about your injury, talking about the kind of day-to-day challenges that you might have is an important part of honesty, an important part of how people can get to know you and if you're compatible together.
Yes, but with the online dating that I've tried here and there through my 20s, that's been the worst part of it all. Because quite often, say, I'm, for example, 25, start talking to a lady who's 23, and she goes, yeah, I'm fine with the wheelchair and the brain damage, or, we can figure it out. But then through talking, we get a bit more in depth about it, and then all of a sudden she just ghosts me.
Okay, yeah.
So that's planted the seed for, well, I guess I'm not good enough.
Oh, it's a very difficult rejection.
Yeah, so it all pivots around the self-torture.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which has to be spoken about, but it makes people not want to, it seems everything that I have to talk about are the exact things that end it.
Okay, all right. So finding the sweet spot between letting people get to know you a little bit without scaring them off is the work that you've probably been doing with Hayley as well, in terms of, having the skills to be able to talk about your injury with confidence, but in a very manageable way.
Yeah. because, like I said before, I think something innocent but don't necessarily say it that way.
Yeah.
And Tom doesn't live here.
You can't counsel you on every word that comes out of your mouth.
Exactly. So finding that sweet spot, but also saying something that's horrible, I struggle to do on my own. But like I said, Tom doesn't live here. So yeah.
Yeah. It's a work in progress, Luke. It's a work in
Yeah,
progress. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, mate, we've covered a whole heap of things. We've talked about kind of the loss of interest in sex initially, the lifestyle factors that really influenced a complete change in your life, really. And then this sort of interest in sex being there again, the lack of opportunity, so the use of sex workers there to help meet that need. And then over the last few months, having the 30th birthday, realizing actually I want a little bit more intimacy and a deeper relationship. So it's a really interesting journey that you've had since your injury. Is there any kind of tips that you would give someone else who maybe has just had their injury for the first time and thinking about sex and relationships and the impact?
If they've just had their injury, the main tip is not needed, because the main tip is don't do it. Don't.
Get out of the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Is that your tip at the party programs when they're learning about safe driving?
That is my first tip.
Yeah, don't get into an accident. Okay.
Yes. If there's a young single guy that's just had their accident, got their injury through whatever way, don't wait.
Don't wait.
Yeah. I see, with having probably the past 3 or 4 years, I've had some pretty major medical things happen with me, but other than that, outside the social world even, I don't know how to properly socialize. I'm a bit rusty on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely say just keep going, keep doing exactly what you were doing before. The physical injury side of it, at the start I was going, how am I going to live with this? But by 6 or 7 years, I wasn't even thinking about it. That was the new normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't stop socializing with able-bodied people.
Okay, so socializing is really important. Maintaining friendships is really important. I'm almost going to add a word into your mouth here and say maybe lay off the booze. That's kind of...
Yeah. Well, in moderation, like doctors say, everything in moderation. One of my biggest mistakes was going, well, I'm disabled. I can only talk to disabled people.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which was yet another reason I was burning bridges. Like, because I was still very young at the time. I'd been out of school that many years. But yeah, I was going, well, you're completely able-bodied. I can't talk to you. I need to find disabled friends.
Okay, so your whole self-perception had changed.
Yeah. And as far as the sex goes, accident when I was 18, woke up when I was 19, if you had told me that I would use sex workers, I would have gone, nah, get out. No way. It's not that bad. It's Australia having prostitution as legal means you're protected, the women are protected, so it's just a service.
Yeah, it's just a service.
Yes. Yeah. So use it. If you're single, use it. If you want sex, obviously don't use it. If you don't, it's expensive.
Sure.
But yeah.
A few good tips there, like around maintaining your interests, socializing, kind of keeping the friends that are meaningful to you.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself in social context by meeting new people, whether that's within the disability community or outside the disability community. And by the sounds of it, there's also an element here of don't lose yourself in amongst it all. Just because you've acquired an injury doesn't mean you're not still Luke.
Yeah. Like, I still get everything done. Sure, it might take longer, be done in a different way, but that's quite often a good entry in the conversation with a stranger. Because they go, "What? How do you do that?" So you can talk to them about it.
With innovation and creativity.
Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your journey with us and your kind of experience. And I wish you well in your dating ventures and whatever that might look like for you in the future.
Okay.
If anyone's out there looking for a hot date, you can find Luke by... How do people find you? Are you on the socials or not really? No, stay away from them. Okay.
If you don't have my phone number or know where I live, good luck.
There's a lot of anonymity. That's cool.
Yeah.
So on that note, I'm going to say thank you for sharing your story with us, because it's not easy to tell other people about everything that you've been through, but you've been practicing it and telling lots of people through the party program and other ways about life, and like you said before we even started, no questions are off limits. You're happy, you're an open book. So good luck in the dating dating game, and it's been lovely to chat with you today. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, have a good rest of the afternoon.
You too.
A massive thank you to Luke for sharing his story with us today. There was so much there for us to be reflecting on and to be thinking about, and the way that particularly his experience with brain injury has really changed some of his ideas around dating and the opportunities that he might have and the different creative ways that he is trying to have those needs still met. If you've enjoyed this episode of A Really Good Sex Chat, please consider liking it on Spotify. Also, feel free to share it with a friend. It's great that we can share resources with people who might be looking for this type of information in their own journey with rehabilitation, or even for health professionals who are working with others with spinal cord injury or brain injury. Until next time, thanks.